Madam Speaker, when I commute to Ottawa, I fly in and out of Windsor. And so my flight path almost always takes me, depending which way the wind blows, over the new battery plant being built in Windsor, the Stellantis plant. And in fact, on Friday, so a few days ago, I toured one of the buildings with this new plant with the leader of the official opposition and my friend, the member from Essex. This building was being erected by a local third-generation family-owned construction company, the Versailles, with a strong, unionized, industrious, local workforce. So I find it a bit ironic that we're debating this legislation today, C-58, when this government committed $15 billion of Canadian taxpayer funds for a battery plant that is hiring foreign replacement workers. You can make the argument that this is not the very same worker. The point is, this is $15 billion of taxpayer funds. And that's going to cost every family in Canada $1,000 while leaving our union workers out in the cold. And we can debate the semantics of whether that's a replacement worker or not. I also find it ironic that this legislation would ban the use of replacement workers in ban the use of, ban the use of replacement workers in federally regulated workplaces, but this legislation is not being extended to the public sector unions. And in those situations, the federal government is a party to the negotiation process. Isn't that a bit curious, Madam Speaker? Last November, we also learned that the Liberals are allowing the companies like Nexstar and Northvolt to also bring in hundreds of foreign workers to help build electric vehicles in Windsor and Quebec. Not surprisingly, the government has received a major pushback from our unions on this. To quote Sean Strickland, the executive director from one of Canada's building trades unions, he has called the situation unconscionable and said that bringing in 900 foreign workers is well beyond the standards his organization has ever seen. Madam Speaker, Conservatives will always stand up for workers, for Canadian workers. In fact, Madam Speaker, we tabled a motion in November at this House Government Operations Committee to compel the government to be transparent with Canadians once and for all and publish the contracts for the 2 battery plant deals, as well as the 3 others that have received the promise of federal subsidies. Of course, Liberal members on the committee objected. The honourable member from Regina Capel compared this situation to shareholders demanding to hold a company's CEO accountable. By shareholders here, we of course mean the Canadian taxpayer. And by the company's CEO, we mean the Prime Minister of Canada. And he said, quote, "Foreign replacement workers coming to Canada thanks to taxpayer subsidies is of interest not only to the workers in the area, but to every single Canadian family whose tax bill is underwriting this," end quote. A further example of taxpayer underwriting government overspending is, of course, the Arrive Scam Act. They gave $20 million, a $20 million contract to GC Strategies, a 2-person IT firm, or is it 4-person, doesn't really matter, that does no actual IT work. And the government cannot confirm how much the company has received. While we've learned that GC Strategies has received $250 million in consulting contracts since 2015, why didn't the Prime Minister go out and hire another 600 border guards to address the car theft that we're experiencing, or the import of handguns or drugs from across the border? Wouldn't that have been $60 billion far better spent? Madam Speaker, it's never been clearer that the Prime Minister is not worth the cost.